Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all our participants from the different regions. I want to welcome you to our today's webinar about what's new in SAP Customer Checkout Feature Pack 18, our last webinar for this year. I'm also happy to welcome Elena and Martin here in the room, and Bikash, we have him remote. So yeah, also welcome. Good. Now let's start. Yeah. So what is our agenda? As last time, we also prepared a short survey. So Elena will give you instructions in a few seconds, and then Bikash, Martin, and me will give you an overview about the newest features that we delivered with Feature Pack 18. We will have a short outlook, and then we will end with a Q&A. And if you have questions, there is a Q&A functionality, so you can post your questions. If we have time at the end, we will try to answer your questions. If not, we will do it afterwards, and we will post the questions again in our SAP Customer Checkout community. Good. Then, Elena, up to you.
Thank you, Harald. Yes, hello also from my side. So as last time also, we have prepared a little survey for you, a very short one. It's one question, and we would like to know from you on which topics we should focus, or what are the important topics for you. So from existing functionalities, but also future topics. So you can just drag and drop and select the topics that are important to you. And in the presentation, maybe you can go back to the presentation, Harald. You can just scan the QR code, and then you get redirected to the survey, or just enter the link.
And I think in the Q&A, we also have posted it.
I have also posted the link into the Q&A or in the chat box, so feel free to just access it. And yeah, would be very happy to, for you, if you can just submit your feedback.
So when the content gets boring, then at least you can join this survey. And in the end,
we will check the results.
Good. Then, before I go into the details, just also to give a short review of 2023. So with SAP Customer Checkout, we delivered this year 4 feature packs. I think this is the first year that we delivered 4. In the last years, we delivered, I think, 2 or 3, but not more. And you see, we accelerated the speed of delivery to bring the features even faster to you than before. Now let's start. I will take over the topics which we did in the area of sending emails. I will show you there the UX improvements that we did, and also in the back office, in the SAP Customer Checkout Manager, what we have done there. Then I will focus on UX improvements in the back office regarding handling of quick selections, and also in the retail UI. And last but not least, a few words about improvements in the S4 integration for the experts with S4. So, and as always, I will not show PowerPoint. We will go and show real software. So I hope you can see my screen now with Customer Checkout. And first topic is the improvement of sending emails. As you know, it becomes more and more common that a receipt is not printed anymore. A receipt is sent out via email. And and to fulfill this requirement, or to support this requirement, we offered on the drawback dialog, and this is what I show you now. We offer here the possibility to configure a button for sending emails. And when you click on it, you have the option to enter your email address there. And then the receipt is not printed anymore. The receipt is sent out via email. Of course, what we also support, if you select the customer, let's take this one, and you select this customer, you add I see a lot of hands up, so it seems to be good accepted, this functionality. Of course, when I select the customer, then we also take the email address out of the customer record, so you don't have to enter it again or ask him. We take it, and then it is directly sent out. Yeah. Another functionality besides email, yeah, you can see also we have now this printing button here. Now, for example, in France, I think it is the default that the receipt is not printed anymore. And also in Germany, we see this more and more, that the print is not happening automatically. And the cashier asks the customer, hey, do you need a receipt? And only if a receipt is needed, then you can here press this print button. Yeah. Okay, so that's how the whole email and conditional printing looks for the cashier. Now let's also look into the customizing of customer checkout and see how you can configure it. Yeah, to configure that, you have to go into the configuration, point of sale system sales screen, and there we have a new section for the drawback dialog. And with this section, you can define if the drawback dialog shall be shown at all. This is there since some former releases. And here you can then enable, shall this print button be shown, shall this email button be shown, yeah? And if this is done, then more or less everything is ready from customer checkout side. And that's it more or less, yeah, from what you have to configure. What I should also mention, of course, we also included this email functionality into the receipt view. So into this list where you can see all the receipts that have been created. Here you can also find this email button. So even if a customer comes back and says, hey, I need a printout, then you can say, hey, do something for the environment, don't print it, I will send you an email. And then the same functionality as I have shown you will come. Good. Now let's switch to Customer Checkout Manager. Because the whole sending of email happens with the Customer Checkout Manager. We have here in the Customer Checkout Manager an area for email delivery. This is not new, this was already there before, but we improved it. So for example, you will find here now a new flag to in general enable or disable this whole email functionality. If it is disabled, this is the default, then obviously also in customer checkout, we will immediately show a nice email message. Hey, your email configuration has not been done, so we cannot send out emails. That was not there before. So that is one thing. Then another thing that we have done, a bit more detailed, when you configure the communication system for emails, then in the destination area, we have here such a check connection button. So this check connection is now really doing a real ping, yeah, so that you can see, that was not there before, by the way, that you can see, hey, the connection in my case to GMX is working well. Next topic which we worked on is in the area of jobs for emails. So until now, it was like that when the first try to send an email failed. For example, the SMTP server for sending emails was not available, then the email was never sent again. Yeah? So if it failed, it failed. And we introduced here now a new job to send failed emails. This is this retry job. And this is automatically, when you enable the email configuration, then automatically this job will be created. So it's not a manual task, it happens automatically. And then in a certain distance, the emails which failed are tried to send again. So this is the first thing. The second thing is, if you know, we have also customers with thousands of point of sale systems and a lot of transactions every day. And if they would send out all receipts via email, there would be really a mass of emails generated in Customer Checkout Manager. And to delete then, let's say, emails that are older than a certain period of time, we offer here now also a delete job so that old emails can be deleted automatically when you don't need them anymore. And last but not least, we of course also integrated this with our data privacy. So in the data disclosure, for example, I use this customer called Tim. Let's take this. We also integrated that if a customer comes and says, hey, I want to know what data you have stored about me, then I will find the customer here. We have a new segment for emails, and here we will find then all the emails that we have sent out to him, and you can download it and you can hand it over to your customer if he asks for it. So I think that's all about emails. Then let's jump to the next topic, UX improvements that we have done in Customer Checkout and Customer Checkout Manager. So the first thing I want to talk about is in the area of quick selections. And I hope everybody who worked with it will be happy, because at least I work a lot with it, and yeah, it helps me a lot. Yeah. So the first thing that we have done, when I want, for example, from one quick selection to move or copy in section, let me check. So for example, I want to move this casual or to copy this casual section into another quick selection. Yeah? Then first of all, until now there was only a move button. Copy was not possible. Now we are also able to copy a section to a new quick selection. So this is the first thing. The second thing is, until now, when you had to select the target of the quick selection, this was a huge list, yeah, much bigger than what we see here. First of all, it was much bigger, and second of all, I think if you had a lot of quick selections, it took a few minutes till everything was loaded. Now we splitted that. So first of all, you can here select the target quick selection. Then you get a second field and you can select the target group. Yeah, so for example, if you want to copy something, I first use this demo for the webinar. This is my target quick selection. And then I can say, hey, I copy it to this quick FX section. And then I press OK. And I hope everything works well. Yeah. So I think small things, but very efficient and very helpful. The second thing we worked on is that the left side where you can see the details and the right side where you can see the preview, that they communicate with each other and are in sync. So for example, when I click now here into accessoires, then you see the left side is also updating. The same for gift cards. And of course, also vice versa. Yeah. So when I go now here to kids, then the right side is also updating. And yeah, small things, but I assume they help really the people in the back office who prepare the quick selections a lot. Good. Then let's jump into Customer Checkout Manager or into Customer Checkout. Here we also did some improvements. So the first thing I want to talk about is the way how you can enter receipt discount. Until now, it was only possible to define such a quick selection button. You can click on that and then you can enter the discount. Yeah, that's how it was until now. But now we extended here this field, the discount field, which shows the discount. You can click here into the absolute discount amount. And then the pop-up opens and you have the option to directly enter the absolute discount. Or if you press on the percentage, then the focus is in the percentage. You can enter your discount and it's done. Yeah, and this button, of course, this is still available, but it's not needed anymore. Good. A few further things we have done is when you look into the receipt details. So, you know, we have this overview page where you have a list of all posted receipts. And now we have here a new button for details. When you click on it, then you will see here the receipt header details. This was available also before, but it was not included into this receipt search. Yeah? Now it is included. This is the first thing. The second thing is we also show now the day and closing ID. This was not the case before. Yeah, now you can also do a forward navigation. You can click on it and you are directly at the day and closing, and you can see here all the details. Yeah, then additionally we added new tabs to that. We have now a tab for sales item, and now you can see all the sales item of this receipt, and the same pattern. We have a forward navigation. So if I want to see the details of the sales item, I can just click here. And I have the price elements, I have the batch serial numbers, I have everything very, very fast on hand. Last thing, we have here a tab for payment items. This was not existing at all, so you had no chance to look into the details of the payment items. Now you can select it here, you can click on it, and you can see also the details. In my case, everything is empty, but for example, if you have a credit card terminal integrated, then you can see here the transaction details, the additional fields, and all the things you need. Okay, I'm just thinking if I have, another thing, a small thing, but also very important is in the customer, when you create a customer, let me select a customer, then we also show now user-defined fields. This was not there before in the new user interface. In the old, I think it was. In the new, was not. This is now also there, so you can see these fields. And also we ordered the fields in a new way. Yeah, so this is the first thing. Then the second thing we did is regarding the one-time customer. As you know, we also have the possibility to add a one-time customer to a receipt. So no customer record is created, it's only for this receipt. And if I open that and I enter here, for example, let's say Max Miller, so I can fill this now. And until now, it was not possible to open it again. Yeah, if you entered it one time, you had no chance to open it again. And now I can click again on this button. The dialog is opening again, and I can change it and can do the things I want to do. Okay, good. That's about the things we did in the retail UI. And then last but not least, we also did some extensions for our S4 customers who have integrated customer checkout with S4 retail. So in the organizational structure, first of all, we added a new field for cost center. Yeah, so you can enter here now a cost center ID. And for example, if you do a cash in, cash out with the S4 IDOC WPU FIP, then we also will transfer this cost center ID to S4. Yeah, so this is the first thing. The second thing we offer here an alternative POS ID. So for example, if you have a S4 system with a lot of point of sale system, then sometimes it can be that in S4 they don't want to see the POS ID of customer checkout, which has only, let's say, 4 digits. They want to have a prefix or a suffix or a completely different POS ID. And this you can enter here now. And then we will transfer this POS ID to the S4 system. So then there's one last thing, which I should not forget, because it's also quite important for our S4 customers. We have some customers who create a sales order in the S4 system. And out of this sales order, an invoice is created, and then they want to pay this invoice from customer checkout. For this, we have this fetch invoice button, which is not new, it's there since ever. You can fetch this invoice, and then you can pay it. So I paid in this case in cash. Yeah. So, and now I hand over to you now, Vikash.
Perfect. Thank you, Harald. Also, welcome from my side to everyone. This time we also have customers hopefully joining us. I will share my screen. And Harald, maybe you can let me know when you see my screen so that I'm aware that my screen sharing is working.
It is loading and now we can see your screen.
Perfect. So what I want to show you is basically two things. The first topic I want to cover is some improvements that we have done in tip management. And because tip management is typically used with table service, so I will use the table service user interface. So here in the configuration, what you see is that tip management is activated and the handling mode is record tips. We also have some new configuration. These two configurations are new, but I will talk about this new configuration when I am doing the appropriate demo. So I go to the sales screen and I'm running the software right now in table service mode. I go to a new table number 22 and I add some items. And now let's say the customer is done with the ordering, food has come and I want to pay. And I go to this pay option and customer says, okay, 10 euro, okay. And let's say you finish the receipt. Yeah, in typically environment, it will be like this. You finish the receipt and you see that there is a change of €1.90 that you will give to the customer. And now the customer says, no, this change is for you as tip. So in the previous versions of our software, there was no possibility to create a receipt where you say €1.90 is tip. So you have to return the receipt and you have to really add this item again and then add the tip item. Then in feature pack 16, 17, we improved things that you can do copy, you can do reopen, which can help you, but still it was a lengthy process. What we do now in feature pack 18 onwards is you can just simply create a receipt, and the receipt that you see now, and in this receipt, I would just say it is a receipt with, let's say, €2.10, okay, 10 cent here. And it is a 10-cent receipt with only tip, and I will finish this. So what I have done is I have created a receipt which has only a tip item, which was not
At least we
supported in
cannot
the
hear
past,
Vikash
and this
anymore.
helps you. Then you can copy. Okay.
Vikash, now we
So
hear
I
you
hope
again.
okay, perfect. So what we support now is that we allow you to create a receipt which only consists of tip item, and this helps you to take a amount as tip instead of creating the whole receipt again. Continuing on that, I now create again a new receipt, and let's say the customer wants to pay 10 euros. So if I go to payment, you see on the right hand side, even though tip management is activated, I don't have too many input fields. In the past, we had around 5 to 6 user input fields. And let's say the Kellner or the serving staff was a bit confused which fields means what. Now we have simplified it. And you see that you have only the possibility in 2 fields to enter this amount. So I enter here 10 euros. And you can also select here now whether this 130 that is excess payment, is this a tip or is this a cash which you want to give out? And this option is configurable. It is in the configuration, you can decide whether the default should be tip or whether the default should be cash. What I have selected here is default is tip. And that is why when I say okay, you will see here, there is nothing to give as change. We have automatically created, so when I close this dialog, we have automatically created the €1.30 as tip, which makes it easy for you. Yeah. Otherwise, if the customer pays, let's say, in this case, €7, and the money has to be given back to him, you can just make one click that this return money is to be given out as cash to the customer. Click OK, and you can see 140 in this case is change, and this is not a tip. Even further improvements in tip management is you can see here, I have 3 different buttons that I have configured. So if I want, I can also enter tip not only in the payment screen, I can enter it during this whole process of, when I'm adding all the items. So I can click on this function button which is pre-configured to €5 tip. And you see a €5 tip is added on the screen. Or I can click on another function button with a different configuration, 7% tip. And you see the tip has changed to 7%. And there is a third function button where if I want, I can see these amounts, or when I click on this, it gives me various options. I can decide 5%, 10%, 20% tip. I can enter a tip amount, or I can just enter that this customer is paying €15 and €6.30 is tip. And this is now added to the screen. If I want, I can also directly click here on this button. The dialog will open again, and I can say no, €12 is what the customer is paying. If I want, I can also cancel this item, so there is no tip now, and finish this transaction. Also, more possibilities is when you go here to the payment, you see on the left hand side, we have added in this payment grid, or let's say this summary grid that we have added the tip amount with also an edit button, so that you can see the tip amount all the time on the screen, on the payment screen. You always know it. And you have the possibility to also click on edit and say 20% is tip. And then you can see on the right hand side, your values are updated. Now it is a not rounded amount. So €6.72. The customer can pay €7. And again, you can say this 28 cent, which is extra, is also tip. And you can finish the receipt, and the existing tip will be now enhanced with another 28 cents that the customer paid finally. Yeah. Also, this whole process of entering tip, I was now doing it manually. If you have a credit card terminal integrated and your credit card terminal supports entering a tip amount. Yes, there are some credit card terminals in which you can also enter the tip amount. So we support that. We have enhanced our payment interface so that from this terminal integration APIs that we have, you can send the final amount and also the tip amount, and we will create this tip item for you automatically in the receipt and balance out the receipt for you. So not only manually entering, but also in this whole payment integration, we have this. Now, going away from this, let's say the process of entering tip into how a summary of tip is used. So for this, we use this functionality, which we call as caching up. And in this caching up, we made some enhancements on the UI. These things are a little bit small, so I will show you this on the print. So when I click on print, I have the print simulator, which is activated. And in the print simulator, I will show you what we have enhanced. So there are overall 2 enhancements. Earlier, we were displaying here gross sales, and we got this complaint, is it including tip or excluding tip? So we now added 2 sections. One is gross sales, which is including tip, and we also added gross sales excluding tip, so that you know what is your sales without tip. Another question which we got very often was that for the serving staff or the waiter or the waitress, a very, very important figure is how much do I need to give to the manager or to the finance department? What is the money? What is the cash money that I need to give it to these people? Yeah. So that is why we added a new section, complete new section, which is called cash summary. It only gives you the cash situation. It tells you total cash in the box is €39.50. Out of this total cash, there is a tip of €2.80. It assumes that the cashier will take the tip in cash, and then it shows you the balance, which is €36.70. Means €36.70 is the money that you need to give it to your accounting department. So in one calculated figure, you know, this is the money I give to the accounting department, $36.70. The rest of the money, cash money, is mine. In the same way, if I go to day end closing and start the process of day end closing, now I don't know the exact figures that I have, so I will enter just €40 and continue. And here you see this screen. If you have used really tip management from our past, this was quite a complex screen where you enter tip for different types of currencies, you enter for different types of payment. These fields were editable, can cause also confusion. So now we have simplified it, and it tells you you have €2.80 as tip, and you can withdraw this €2.80. You can also, of course, change this amount. We also support that this €2.80 is configurable. So in one of the configuration setting, you can decide that it will be not €2.80, it will be 0. In case you don't give tip immediately, you do it, let's say, end of the month or something, or there is no cash. If your restaurant is completely cashless, then you cannot give away cash tips. Yeah. And this also we support that you can say, you decide what is it a 0 amount or is it a tip amount that you see here. So with that, I continue and I will finish the receipt. Sorry, I will finish the day end closing and again go back to my printout and show you day end closing printout. Here again, the same things has continued. You see your gross sales, you see gross sales excluding tip, and we added a new section here called tip. This was a section which was missing in the past because it shows you collected total €2.80 as tip. You took out €2.80 as tip, and so there is no tip remaining that the account department will give you later or transfer to you later. You had 280 tip and you took out 280 tip. So from an accounting perspective, null. Yeah, you don't get anything from the account department. Yeah, and this is some of the feedback that we received from you, that this kind of informations were missing in this cashing up screen, day end closing, and we now show you this data. This data, you don't only see it in your printouts and in customer checkout. Also, we enhanced customer checkout manager. So if I come to customer checkout manager and come to sales summary, then you see here in the sales summary, we added here a section called tip details. So this section is new, and the same information about tip total, tip payout, remaining tip is shown to you in the day end closing, so that if your account department wants, they don't need to look into any kind of printout. They can just look into the day end closing and they will have this information. That's, I would say, on a high level. Yeah, I have not gone into each and every detail, but that's on a high level, everything that we changed or enhanced to improve the usability of tip management. Yeah. The two configuration options that I mentioned initially, I just show it to you here. So the first one is set tip payout to 0 during day end closing. So during the day end closing, this is now configurable, whether you take your tip out or you leave it in the box, and set default payout to tip during payment process. Yeah, it is activated. When you activate this option, this means if I go here, then this tip is activated. If I switch it off, then by default, cash will be activated. And if you are not using tip management, then you don't see this payout as option. Yeah. And the whole tip management, now I demoed you using table service, but we don't differentiate between retail mode, table service mode, or quick service in terms of tip management. You can use it in all combinations. So that's about the first topic I wanted to show you. The second topic that I want to show you is about some changes that we did in our CompuTop integration. And for security reasons, now we support 3D Secure. Now let me do you a small demo and then it will become more clear. So what I am currently using is our mobile order. I hope you are familiar with that. We did a dedicated webinar for mobile order. And I will go ahead, and I'm quite hungry. So I will order a pizza salami, maybe 2 of them. And I continue here and I go to Betsalon, so to pay. And I will select now Visa. What we supported in the past, this payment will be processed using CompuTop. What we did not support in the past was it is very common that when you use your credit card nowadays, you get in your mobile or in your email a code, and you have to enter the code so that your payment is successful. This code is of course also configurable for what amount of money the code should come and for what amount of money you don't want this extra security. And this whole topic is called 3D Secure. And in the past, we did not support 3D Secure. And now we support 3D Secure. And I will do you a very small demo to show you how this 3D Secure works. So for that, I need to use a codes from the screen. So I use one of the card types. I will use MasterCard and I copy this card type. So I will say, I will pay not using some existing cards which are stored. I will use a different kind of card and I will continue. I select MasterCard. I enter some card number. I enter validity. I will enter a code. I will enter my name and continue. And when I continue, now I come into this screen, which is this challenge form or 3D Secure. Now I should have ideally received a OTP, one-time password on my mobile or on my email and use that. So from your point of view, I would say it is quite a simple change that we now support OTP, but from a development perspective, these are completely different APIs. So we had to really re-implement this CompuTop integration. And also in CompuTop side, this is a different type of account. So all these changes had to be done. So from a consumer perspective, small change that we support 3D Secure payments and you get this OTP on your mobile and mails, and you can enter this OTP and then the payment is successful. Yeah. And behind the scene, as I said, a bit more changes is done to achieve that. One last change, again, with CompuTop payment, I just want to talk about that, don't need to show you that, was when I entered this payment screen, you saw that I had the opportunity to save the card. Maybe I can, if we have time, then I can even do that.
Because there's not that much time. Sorry for interrupting.
Then I skip that. So all good. Yeah. So what we support now is that we allow you to save this card. We also supported that in the past, but the flow has changed, and we allow you to select that right in the beginning, whether your card should be added or whether your card should not be stored for a next time usage. Yeah. So that were the two topics: enhancements in tip management and 3D Secure payment with mobile order that I wanted to show you. That's all from my side, and I will hand it over to Martin.
Okay. Thanks, Bikash, for showing us these nice features. I think Sarah to show this. Let me share my screen. Oh, you can see my screen? Perfect. So, yeah. I really would like to focus today on the enhancements that we did in the area of archiving, but also I have prepared some minor small changes. First of all, I want to start with one of these small changes that we did, and this is in the area of our US customers, and they especially if they have a local tax calculation, so I'm not integrated with a tax calculation provider. And in this case, what we have enhanced is that we are allowed now to change the tax rate type code for the shipment. Maybe some of you already know that in the US, you have to take the tax settings of the location where you send or where you sell your goods. So in our case, if we would have a local sell, then we are located in New York. So then we had a percentage of 9.75%. And if a customer comes now to me just to get the amount, so we have now 67 cents of tax. So if a customer comes and says, okay, can you ship those goods to my local address? And he selects, for example, Fremont in California, and we take this as a shipment address. Then we also allow in the local tax calculation now to select the corresponding tax rate. So in this case, it's Fremont, California. Of course, this requires a configuration of these tax rates in advance. But this is then, if this is done, then we can select them and we immediately see this, these tax settings have been applied to the receipt, and my tax item changed now to Fremont, California with 10.2.5%. Okay, then we can post this receipt and also come to the main topic, to the archiving. For everybody who joined already the last webinar, I was aware that we were able to archive receipts by forwarding them to an archive system or to a generic system and attach the local copy. This, of course, still works, but we enhanced it with the functionality to also archive day-end closings. This I would like to show you. So I do now a day-end closing for this one receipt. Let's put some money in the drawer. So let's assume we have a bit more. So we have 10 euro cash. And this is the day-end closing. And if we look at our print, we will see that this day-end closing has the number 1207. I will explain you later how this is configured, but just first of all, I would like to show you the process, how it looks like. So if we go to the sales summaries, we will also find our 1207. And here we will have now a new tab. This is called dispatch states. And in the dispatch states, we see that this sales summary was dispatched successfully to our archive service. And in our test environment, I connected an integration suite as an archive service. This could, by the way, also be the reality. There could be an integration suite that handles the request and stores it into an archive system, but it could also be an archive system that is connected directly. The only functionality currently our integration suite is doing, it will visualize the payload, so to show you what we sent. And here we have this archive. We also see the HTTPS body. So this is something that we will post to this archive system. As you can see, it's a JSON file. And in this JSON file, we have all the data that are part of the day-end closing. And what's very special is we have additionally a sales summary copy. This is the printout of the sales summary, or of the day-end closing, how it is called in the point of sales area. And we have an audit file. In my case, this is a DSFinVK zip, and both are base 64 encoded. The integration suite, for the convenience, I already, when I stored this payload, we already store also the receipt, so visualize the receipt. And as you can see, this is something like a lookalike receipt in my case. Of course, there could be also a PDF here, but this text file is quite convenient because it's generated fast, and it is really kind of a copy of this printout that is printed on the point of sales system. So we see our 10 euro that 10 US dollars that we have entered, the target amount and the difference. So everything is there. And there was, as I've shown you, a second type. So this is a base 64 that we take this. So my case, I just show you the content with a small base 64 encoder tool. So I take the payload, I say, please decode this file. And then there's a zip file downloaded. I can open this zip file. And if I look at the zip file, I see that this is the content of this DSFinVK. And then I could already open some line transaction lines. I can open such a line, and I can see the CSV file of this one. So this is what how the flow is looking like. To finalize this, we go back to the manager, because what also happens is same for the receipt. We have created in Feature Pack 17 an archives app, and in this archives app, we show all the archived receipt and sales summaries. In my case, this was the 1207. And in this, there's also an asset ID. This asset ID is returned by the archive system, or can be returned by the archive system. In my case, it's just a generated number based on the timestamp. But this is then in the area of the archive system to really return a real archive. And if this is the asset ID is stored, it also can return a URL. So I have the possibility to click on this. And if there is a real link behind it, it's also the jump to open this link and directly jump into the archive system. You can see we have stored some main data of the sales summary. Of course, it's just really a rough overview of the sales summary. And this is what we have stored in this archive system. Okay, yeah, how can this be configured? This is done via our communication system. So again, everybody who joined the last webinar also remembers that we have introduced a new communication system archive service. And here I've set up an HTTP system is the path. And this is also something what I would like to make now a side notice to it, but do not show it to you. In this area, we also enhanced it to allow an SFTP connection. So what we are also able is not only to store these receipts and the sales summaries in via HTTP, so we are also able to store it in SFTP. Therefore, you just can click Add, and you can select SFTP and then configure the system. I will just shortly show you how this looks like. So here is a demo SFTP server where I'm connected to. And in this, you see that there is an archive, Martin, and then you see the year, you see the point of sales number, and below this point of sales number or a point of sales ID, we have the day and closing ID. And below the day and closing ID, we have receipts. So all the archived receipts will end up as a zip file, also containing the JSON data and the printout. And the same is for the sales summary. Everything ends up in this structure. And you can also archive your receipts and sales summaries now in an SFTP server. So this was just a small side notice to this. But in our system that I've prepared today, we only have this HTTP connection. And based on this HTTP destination, we have the communication arrangement. And in this communication arrangement, we already had an outbound service receipt. And with feature pack 18, we also added the sales summary. And in the sales summary, we have the possibility to configure the thing. So it was, for me, configured to send the plain text. But as I already mentioned, we can also post an 80mm PDF or an A4 formatted PDF. And what we also allow to attach a DS-FIN4CAR file as an audit file. If there would be in future maybe other audit files for other countries, we may support this then also later. Right now, Germany is the only one who has something in this way. And therefore, we have the section to immediately archive those things. And people can already use this for some audits, and it's not only for archive purpose. Okay, then to round this archive story a little bit up, we also have added something to our already known delete receipt job. So we have this delete receipt, delete data. And in this receipt, delete data, we now have an option called delete only archived receipts. With this option, you can be sure that we will not delete receipts that are not already archived. So they have to be the status successfully archived. And only if this has been done, these receipts can be deleted. And also there's a second job that is delete archives. So after like 10, 11 years, also your archives could be removed from the system. So these like references that we have created in the archive app, So it's not deleting the archives in your external system. It's really about this archive apps that we have, where the references are. But after like 10, 11 years, usually you can or you should delete those data. And therefore you can create this job like it is pre-configured. And then like 4,000 days, it's a little bit more than 10 years or almost 11 years. With this time, you could then also delete those data to do not like full flow your system. Okay, this is all from the archiving, but also related a little bit to this area is we do not only do this sales summary archiving stuff, we also allow forwarding sales summaries to the customer checkout manager now. So we have we will also allow to receipts. You also allow sales summaries to be forwarded to a second customer checkout manager. Like for somebody who has hierarchies of managers, then this will be a nice feature and everything. So if you enable receipts and sales summaries, everything is there. The same checks will take place. So it looks like if it was immediately sent directly to this manager. But this arrangement will not create any archive entry. So the manager-to-manager communication will not create any entry in this archive app. And then coming to the last point that we have introduced, it's in our current times a very prominent topic, or became a very prominent topic, and was also highly voted in our influence portal. So it's about diverse gender options. So there was the request that besides the titles that we already have used, Mrs. and Mr., and then we had the company, that we have something for people who are or feel diverse. So we have introduced this MX title. And of course, this title is not only usable and synced in the manager, it can be also used in the point of sale system. So here we have also introduced this feature. If you add in our customer, if you have this customer, also here we have this title MX. And that's all from my side. Thanks for joining our What's Your session. And I think we are now able to, no, we are not done. I will hand over to Harald because I think everybody is curious about the results of the Mentimeter. And of course, Harald has some outlooks, and we are also there for questions and hopefully can answer them. Okay.
Thanks, Martin. Thanks, speakers. Thanks, Elena. We are running a bit out of time. That's why Elena said I should hurry up. Yeah, I hope you can see my screen again. So first of all, we have everything that we have shown today. There's a What's New documentation available in the partner portal, probably also in the documentation
and the help page. Yes, so in all channels you will find the What's New presentation, the announcement, and the documentation.
So, and the recording of this session will also be sent out, probably posted to YouTube. We have to see them. Then next slide. Yeah. So as the year is coming to the end, I want to mention some highlights of this year. So for our team, it's a huge success. We will reach the 800 customers this year in more than 55 countries. So I think really a cool thing. And then also to mention again our very nice partner training. I assume a lot of partners who are today also in the call joined our training this year in May. So it was really a nice thing. Let's see if we do something similar in the next year. And then also to mention 2 technology partnerships this year with PayOne and Adyen in the terms of payment. We did more, but yeah, to highlight this time these 2. And then I already say now, thank you for your support and trust in the year 2024.